There's nothing to fear about rejection. It's God's protection or a nudge in a better direction. This is brand new future executive senior sales director Nikki McDaniel from Rapid City, South Dakota, filling in for national sales director Kristen Sharp. Well, I'll never forget years ago when I was with my niece Mackenzie and we were at the hotel pool. And I watched her as she went around the pool asking girls if they wanted to play. And one by one, they would say, "No, thank you." And she would say, "Okay." And then she'd go to the next girl and say, "Hey, do you want to play?" "No," they would say. But you know what? She didn't get sad or she didn't feel bad. She just persistently asked. And finally, the fifth girl said, "Sure." And off they went to play. And I was thinking to myself, wow, if everybody would treat rejection like Mackenzie and so boldly ask without putting any emotional attachment to their answer or taking it personally, we would reach our goals and our dreams so much faster. Because I know that the fear of rejection holds a lot of people back from many opportunities and many blessings. Let me ask you, what would your business and life look like if you never worried about rejection or what other people thought of you? I want you to really think about this. I bet you'd be boldly talking to anyone at any given time. You'd be handing out business cards everywhere you went. You'd be sharing your faith boldly with everybody that you knew needed to hear it. You'd be boldly asking everybody that you wanted to join your team to join your team. I bet you'd even ask your boss for a raise. Or maybe you'd apply for your dream job. And heck, I bet you would even ask that hottie out on a date, right? So as you can see with these examples, fear of rejection influences our behavior and our actions. We miss out on opportunities, big opportunities, all too often because we are afraid of rejection. There was a guy named Jim who wanted to become an entrepreneur. So he knew that he was going to have to face rejection. So what he did is he voluntarily put himself in situations where he knew he'd be rejected. So he kind of made it like a game. So for 100 days, he made ridiculous requests to strangers, expecting to get rejected. And that he did a lot. But he also got a number of unexpected yes responses as well. Knocking on a stranger's door, ball in hand, he said, "Can I play soccer in your backyard?" The response, "Come on in." He asked a policeman if he could drive his car. The answer, "Do it." And when he asked workers at Krispy Kreme if they'd make him donuts shaped like the Olympic rings, they did. And for free. So the moral of the story is people are often more receptive than we think. We oftentimes underestimate people's willingness to help us. And you know what? When people are on their deathbed, they regret most what they didn't do, not what they did do. So do you want to be one of those people? So ladies, when you focus on rejection, you are basing your emotions upon other people's feelings, comments, criticism, and praise. This implies your entire fulfillment and happiness is based on external factors. You are basing it on what others think and say about you. Also, when you focus on rejection, you are focusing on how you don't want to feel. We don't ask because we don't want to feel hurt or pain. But imagine somebody trying to learn a new language and spending all their time thinking about how they don't want to not study and how they don't want to not speak a word at their upcoming holiday. Or think about jump roping. We don't learn to jump rope by constantly telling ourselves that we don't want to fall on our face, right? So don't focus on how you don't want to feel. Focus on how you do want to feel. You want to feel successful. You want to feel accomplished. Know that rejection has to happen in order to get to where you want to be. You can't get a yes if you don't even ask. A lot of times, people forget that rejection is like flexing a muscle. If you don't exercise that muscle, it won't get stronger. So if you aren't making a lot of calls or putting consistent activity out there, rejection is going to seem really big and it's going to hurt more. But the more activity that you consistently do, the less rejection hurts. When you have a party cancel or you have someone say no to you, but you have 8 other parties booked, it's not going to seem like a big deal. But it is going to seem like a big deal if that's the only party on your books. So I am going to give you a few tips to overcoming your fear of rejection. Number 1, you can ask anyone for anything if you make it okay for them to say no. When you give yourself the permission to be okay, no matter what your prospect feels or what she says, you're going to be all right. So the key is not in forcing or making yourself feel okay or in faking it, but in giving yourself permission. See, the more comfortable you are with accepting no, knowing that, guess what, you're going to be okay, then you'll have the courage to ask anyone for anything. Number 2, your self-worth is never dependent on their yes. It may seem that criticism and rejection can affect your self-worth, but guess what? They don't. Your value as a person is innate, irregardless of how many no's you receive. Your worthiness is never in jeopardy. Your identity is not about the number of approvals that you get. Your innate value doesn't change with how many yeses you get or how many no's you get. Just like the value of a $10 bill does not diminish if you crumble it, spit on it, trample over it, right? It's still the same value, isn't it? Number 3, no is not the problem. It is what you attach to the no, which is the problem. No only becomes a problem when you attach insecure thoughts and invest much emotional weight onto it. That pulls you down and it frees you into inaction. Number 4, no is not the opposite of yes. Yes, you heard me right. No is not the opposite of yes. Ariana Huffington said, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Similarity in sales, no is not the opposite of yes. It is just part of the process of getting to the yes. So if you can make that mental shift, you won't dread the no's. You're going to welcome them. Number 5, take emotion out of your booking calls. Think of it as working the numbers. I always say no means next. That's it. That's all it is. Moving on. Number 6, know that rejection is where the biggest amount of personal growth happens. We never want to stay stagnant because we love the personal growth of Mary Kay, don't we? And no's are so good for our personal growth. Number 7, you hear it all the time, but expect rejection. Know that you can't avoid it and you will never reach your goals without it. So expect it and celebrate it. Number 8, realize that rejection is progression, not regression. Most people think of rejection as moving backwards, when actually it's the opposite. Rejection is moving you closer to your dreams. Number 9, know that it's not personal to you. If your friend asks you for a piece of gum and you say no, is she offended? No. If you walk into Macy's and you don't buy anything, do they close the doors and have a pity party? No. Don't take it personal. And number 10 is to act regardless of your negative thoughts and feelings. Take the risk of being rejected. Know that feelings of discomfort are temporary. If you do nothing, your fear of rejection will cause ongoing feelings of discomfort. What have you got to lose by taking action? What's the worst thing that would happen if she says no? Would you die or would they die? No. Think of it like this. If you walk into Target and you give someone your business card and she says yes, you have a new name. If she says no, well, guess what? You're in the same spot that you were before you asked. See, nothing changed. And last but not least, challenge yourself to see how many no's you can get in a row. Or find another consultant and see who can get the most no's in 1 week. And maybe the winner will take the other one out to lunch. Make it fun. This will take the worry and stress out of the no's. So the fear of rejection really stunts your growth in your Mary Kay business. I want you to think of it like babies. They try to get up and walk all the time, but they keep falling down. But guess what? If we all would have given up, we'd all be crawling around. Have you ever thought about that? So to conclude, appreciate rejection, celebrate rejection, and remember, rejection is nothing more than a necessary step in the pursuit of success. Because there's nothing to fear about rejection. It's either God's protection or a nudge in the right direction. God bless you and make it an amazing Thursday.